Oh, it's actually recording. That's good. It's always nice when technology works the way it's supposed to. Oh, that wasn't recording, though. How are you?
I'm good. And yourself?
I'm great. For those of you who don't know, welcome to the channel. This is our very rapid episode of A Mile in Your Shoes. No monologue today. You're welcome. You don't have to sit through all of that. And this special guest that I have today, we've been trying to make this happen since this. Actually, you were one of the top 5 people I wanted to interview.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
So this has been a year and some change. We've had almost have our 1 year anniversary, if you can believe that.
No.
August the 25th is our
awesome.
1 year, and today is the 20th. So 5 days from now, we'll have our 1 year anniversary.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, exciting. Hasn't gone exactly the way I wanted it to, but it's getting there. How are you doing today?
I'm blessed. I can't complain. Good to see you.
Thanks. My hair. I needed to do some of my hair today, but it is what it is.
What are you talking about? You're a chick magnet.
Boy, I wanted to become more attractive, and so I'm no dummy, so I ate a bunch of magnets. I knew that's the kind of joke you would appreciate. This is my brother Floyd, everyone. I know it's hard to believe, but it's true.
Yep.
It's true.
We're related.
We are related
in
some weird way.
Yeah. Can't you see the resemblance?
I mean, we've known each other since I just thought about this today. We actually have known each other for almost 30 years.
Oh, don't say that.
Isn't that disgusting?
That's just sad.
That is gross.
It is.
Time is unfair.
I know.
You haven't changed at all, though.
Well,
minus the blonde mohawk. that turned orange.
Yeah, did you like that?
I did. That was, actually, going because your dad recently passed, and I'm sorry I was there for you, and I'm sorry that happened. But some of the pictures I saw, I forgot about the camo look that you sported.
Yes,
so many times.
I did.
Why did you wear so much camouflage?
I kind of wanted to sneak into places, and just kind of blend in, and just trying
to get your ninja on.
That's right. That's right. Actually, to be honest with you, I think it was just kind of a phase I was going through at the time. But what stopped me from doing that was just shortly after 9/11. I was on my way to Tallahassee, actually, for a friend's wedding. And I was wearing camouflage gear, and I was stopped twice, randomly searched, that sort of thing. And, and both times I was asked, "Are you in the military? How long have you served? What branch are you in?" And I thought, I'll bet this is the reason I got stopped. Sure enough, I put that stuff in the suitcase on the way back, didn't get stopped once.
There you go.
And haven't been stopped since.
Okay. I was trying to remember the time that we got pulled over in LaPorte.
Well, okay. Going through the airport, I should say.
Because I was like, that was the pinnacle of that was I don't know what happened there. I mean, that was just a small town cop being a small town cop. I mean,
well, I was going 1 mile over the speed limit, so yeah. I mean, so she was well within her rights to pull me over. So
yeah. And I remember you were just sitting there fuming. I'm like, just relax. It's not worth it. Just calm down. It's all going to be okay. And
yeah, that was definitely an exercise in anger management for sure.
Oh man, that was a night. Yeah, well, we've had some adventures, me and you.
We have. In fact, I'm thinking of Matt at Red Lobster. Yeah, that was quite the adventure.
You know that he's now like 6'3".
Yeah, he's no longer the wee little lad that he was at that time. So
the Red Lobster. Oh my gosh. Okay, so obviously no one knows what that's about. No. This is such a scatter because this is not even what I want to talk about, but that's right. So I had just gotten a job at Dan Dairy Motors, and we had just gotten the biggest paycheck I'd ever gotten in my life, and I wanted to celebrate with someone, and the girl that I was with at the time, we had broken up and had a kid together. So I took you and my son to Red Lobster, and we feasted like kings.
We did.
And we didn't even make it through the, like, our entrees came, like, we need a box, because the appetizers, it was the whalebone that got us. It was this big, tall, 3-foot slushy drink, the whalebone. And we had the fondue, and we had all these appetizers, and we ordered this meal, and it was extravagant. It was great.
It was wonderful.
But my son at the time, God, he was 10 months old.
I think so.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And he got out of the high chair and he went nuts, and chasing him around Red Lobster. I'm sure it was a lot less than half an hour, but it felt like it was a long, I mean, he was just rambunctious as all get out. Like, he would not stay. When you pulled him out, he would just run away, and it was chaos from the beginning.
Yeah. Not to mention, we were totally stuffed.
So oh my gosh. So I can't remember. I don't think I've ever been that full ever again.
No, I learned. We learned
a hard lesson that day. Like, I know the body doesn't say that because it still have a little heft to me, but I was miserable for 2 days.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was painful.
That was really painful, but it was really great.
It was
a good time.
Yeah. It was so good. It hurt.
John Cougar would be proud of us.
He would have.
Do you know where baby melons go in the summer?
I give up. Where?
John Cougar's melon camp.
Ah! I love it. I know
that's totally your joke. You would totally like that joke.
Oh my goodness, boy! Yeah, that joke was very fruitful.
It should have multiplied.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
Oh my gosh, this is great.
Sorry.
This is great.
Sorry, not sorry.
Not even. I mean, what were some of the Floydisms? I mean, wait, hang on. Of the dozens and dozens of people I know, you're one of them.
That's right. Although I can't really say that was truly mine. I kind of adapted that from a pastor friend, but
okay.
But you know, I think he's given me permission to use it.
There you go. You have license.
Yeah,
creative license to use it.
Yeah.
That's great. Where you go, that's truly where you are.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, I got you a gift.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Is this the right one? Here you go. It's wherever you go, there you are.
Oh, yes.
Signed. It's signed.
Okay.
Signed by me.
Well, hey. Well, that's all I wanted. Thank you, folks.
I don't even know what it's about. But I saw the title. And I was like,
it doesn't
totally
really matter. I mean,
doesn't.
with a title like this, I mean, it's just
gotta be good.
It's
written
gotta be
by
good.
John Kabat-Zinn.
Yep, John Kabat-Zinn, that guy. So yeah.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's about Buddhist philosophy.
Okay.
Which, I mean, there's always good stuff in there.
Oh, sure. Hey. Well, you know what? I will tell you all about it.
Oh, I have a copy too.
Oh,
I'm gonna make you sign mine.
Okay.
So that we both have.
I'm gonna do the honors right now.
All right.
Okay.
I mean, that way we have, not that we're not already connected for life in other ways, but now we have record that we are together forever.
That's right. So
yeah, we actually, our bond was so close that, remember when we got accused of being gay lovers?
Yes, I do remember that. That was special.
By the live-in girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's like, I think that you guys are lovers. And I was like, oh, no. That's great. Nothing wrong with that, if that's what your life, but that's not what we had. The Floydster. I love it.
There you go.
It's great. It's great. All right, so let's get to the meat and potatoes.
All right, here we go. All right, so enough fluff.
Well, there's going to be lots of fluff.
Lots of fluff.
I mean, I have full of it.
All right.
So you were born here in Waterloo, yes?
I was.
Born here in Waterloo.
Yep.
Mother was, what was her name?
Janie.
I never met her because she was gone before I came in the picture, I think.
Well, I think she was here for a little while.
Okay.
But yeah, she passed away back in 97. And I think I might have met you back in
96.
96. So yeah.
So, yeah. I never met her because there was just that brief little thing.
Yeah.
Dad was Floyd Sr.
Yep.
Born here. Where was he born? He was born in
Alabama.
Alabama.
That's the Crimson. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Yeah.
War Eagle. Just to throw that out there. Ever since Nick Saban joined the Tide, I can't. He's the devil. Not really, but he put my Dolphins back 20 years.
Well, yeah. I got you.
So born and raised here in Waterloo.
Yep.
What was your childhood like? I don't know a lot of these stories.
Well, it's interesting. I went to school here in Waterloo up until the 9th grade. And then I went to a boarding school, which is an experience a lot of people don't typically have.
Yeah, let's open that up. First of all, what took you to a boarding school? Well, were you a rambunctious child and they were trying to give you discipline?
It's funny. It's funny that you mentioned that. My dad just felt that, he wanted to, I think he wanted to have kind of like the best possible outcome because my mother had a boyfriend at the time who probably wasn't like the best influence.
Okay.
So Dad wanted me. He figured, well, he could do one of two things. He could, take her to court for custody, and figured, well, okay, that would probably be like a big mess.
Right.
Plus the fact I would probably not be in favor of that, or he could send me away to a boarding school. So he sent my brother and I to Shattuck St. Mary's in Faribault, Minnesota.
Okay.
And we went there I went there for 2 summers. He went there for 1. Great. Had a great time. Fell in love with the place. And so he sent me there for years. And so it was great. It was kind of like being in college, only not in college.
Okay.
And you lived in the dorms, you got to
had to wear a uniform?
We did.
Okay.
We did. I got to actually learn how to tie a tie.
Nice. I still don't know how to do that properly.
Hey, I'll teach you.
You know what? I don't wear them that often. I'll have to learn soon because I'm going to become a billionaire.
Well, there you go.
That is one of my goals. $10 billion by 2025.
Well, I'll tell you what, in that case.
But it's not for selfish reasons. Like, it sounds selfish, but it's not for selfish reasons.
No.
I have things that I want to do that money would get me to what I need to do and to turn around and give back to other people.
Exactly.
That was really the whole thing. I want to own a baseball team. That's my goal.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. So, it's not about me, but it's about you. But that's
sir, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I hope that you succeed.
Well, and part of that's to give back because sports is what got me through my child abuse. And if I can turn around and help kids in their own way, come hang out in the owner suite. Come hang out with me in the owner suite. Let's hang out. Let's give families, the people that sit up in the nosebleeds. Now we're going to give you a new experience. 20 people a game. Come down and hang out in the owner suite with me. We'll take you on the field, let you meet the players, and, just because you never know, those one little day can turn someone's life completely around.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. You know what? That would be awesome.
That's my goal. That's the goal. That's why the $10 billion has to happen so that you can actually afford to buy said team and then have money to run said team.
True.
But then whatever I don't need is to be given away.
Well, I'll tell you what, folks, let's make this happen. So,
well, whatever God desires, right?
That's right.
So you go to boarding school.
Yeah,
spent 4 years up there.
Spent 4
years.
Graduated
from there.
Graduated from there.
Okay.
Then one caveat I did want to mention was while I was up there that the seed was planted for me to eventually go into counseling.
Okay.
Because I met with a counselor up there. It was funny because I had a roommate that was going to counseling, and I thought, you do realize only crazy people go to counseling, right? Oh, well, you know what? I think you should go see her. I think, are you calling me crazy? No. But, I think, she's great. It's like, whatever, it's just like.
So you thought only crazy people went to see counselors?
I did.
Okay.
I did. But, I thought, well, okay, I'll check her out, see what it's like, And the funny thing was, after that first session, I opened up and, and I looked forward to every session. And then what I found out years later, just about everybody in the school had been seeing her. She knew more dirt on everybody than, it was so funny. But of course, I didn't think about it in those terms back then. But that's where the seed actually was planted for me to go into the counseling field.
And now, how many letters at the end of your name?
Well,
it's like the entire alphabet, isn't it?
Well, it's.
I know I just jumped a whole span, but
that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. I'm officially an LISW. I mean, for people, I know that alphabet soup really doesn't mean a lot. That stands for Licensed Independent Social Worker.
Okay.
So essentially, what that means is that I can counsel people and get paid for and get paid by insurance or for seeing them independently. So I don't have to work under someone else, or I don't have to work for another company, which was actually why I started my own. So
nice.
So yeah.
So you go to boarding school. You graduate from there.
I did.
Go to college.
I did.
You have 5 degrees, is that right?
Well, it probably seems like it. I went to...
Because you have your AA.
Yeah, but before then, I a lot of people don't know this, but I'm the second generation Floyd the Barber. At least that's what I call myself.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You have a barber. You had a barber's license.
I did. So, yeah, and so I...
You came and cut my hair once, if I remember correctly.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I worked as a barber, and then that actually ended up helping me through my time at NIAC.
Okay.
NIAC stands for North Iowa Area Community College, and so I cut
Which is where we learned about the politics of college athletics.
Yes. Oh, interesting story.
No, I love interesting stories.
Well, it's funny. I remember some friends of mine, we were headed to class, and there was a guy out fishing because Nyack has, a couple of small lakes, and, and we were saying, hey, you know what? I'm not going to say his name just in case he ends up watching this at some future time. But,
right.
Hey, blah, 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 blah. Why are you fishing? I mean, don't you have class? And he just nonchalantly looks at us and says, I am in class. Oh.
Didn't you have a class like one of the guys was one of his classes was gym supervision?
Yes, weight room supervision.
And that was an actual class.
That was an actual class.
I think you told me a story that there was a guy that took napping as a class.
Well, I'm not. Well, if he probably did. He probably did. I'm sure that he probably did sleep studies and got paid for it and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's just, so.
Oh my gosh.
So but those were actual classes that only athletes could take. Now again, in all fairness, I don't know. That's been 30 plus years.
Right.
Hopefully things have changed a lot since then. But right now, or at that time, that's the way it was. It's like, wow, I had heard about underwater basket weaving, but didn't think that was a real thing.
Underwater basket weaving?
Well, that's what we call
great.
it. Yeah, but
sounds tough.
Yeah.
I can't even weave a basket normally.
Yeah, I know. But it's but yeah, so there were just all kinds of, just interesting things you just kind of learned,
right.
But it was a good experience overall. I mean, I definitely appreciated it. It was kind of being away from home again, and just kind of learning, again, meeting some people that ended up being very instrumental in my life at that time. And from there, I went to the University of Northern Iowa. Go Panthers, woohoo!
Okay, so you have your barber's license. You get your AA at NIAC.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And then I got my BA.
Your BA at UNI.
From UNI.
And is that when you graduated with your dad?
That's when I graduated. My dad and I
graduated
together.
That is the coolest story.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how many people can say they graduated college in the same class as their parent?
That's right. And, the funny thing was I was actually in line in front of him, but then he reminded me, excuse me, I am the oldest, it's like, oh, sorry. So
why were you in line ahead of him?
I don't know. But yeah, it's just like he said, so that's like, okay, I'm going to defer to you, Dad. And it's
I met your dad twice,
yeah.
and both times he was very focused on what he was doing. He couldn't have cared less who I was.
Yeah, that's kind of the way Dad was. It's just kind of like, oh, what's your name again? Yeah, okay, whatever. It's just like, so yeah, the dad was just kind of, he was kind of in the mode, and it was nothing personal.
Right? No.
Yeah.
He was a man on a mission.
Yeah.
He had somewhere to be, and nothing was going to stop him from getting there.
That's right.
That's right. It was called willpower.
Yeah. Well, he probably listened to a lot of that old 70s music too, Ain't no stopping us now.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry. Yeah, we've gone off the rails here.
No, it's fine. This is us in a nutshell.
That's true.
This is how our life and friendship has worked for 30 years almost.
Yeah.
Yuck. Double yuck. Father time's not kind.
Well, you know what? I guess the one thing I will say is that I can't think of a lot of friends that I've been in friendships with for 30 years. So, that says something.
You're the only one that's been that constant in my life as far as anyone's concerned.
Yeah.
My mom was in and out. My grandmother was in and out. My dad left when I was 6 months. You are the pillar of friendship in my life and relationships. Like, you're the one that I've been able to hang on to for 30 years. That's crazy.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
In fact, just for the audience, I remember when this wee lad went out to California, became a California beach bum out there, and it was just enjoying the life out there. And
man.
And we kept in touch then.
We did.
So
I actually felt like I belonged out there, and then I look back and I don't talk to anyone from that experience except for the athletic director. Him and I just reconnected.
Oh,
but
cool.
Everyone else, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny how life works that way. It's like there are people that come into your life for a brief span of time, and you really connect. And then, whatever happens, life changes. They get married, you get married, you move, they have kids, whatever, and then it's like you don't see them anymore or whatever, and so, but then there are those friends that kind of stick with you for the duration. And you know what? You've been one of the few. So.
Well, I appreciate your aspects of my life more than anything. So,
and likewise.
I'm getting a little froggy.
Hey, that's okay.
So you go to the University of Northern Iowa.
Yeah.
You get your BA.
Yep.
Then you have to get other degrees to continue your work.
Yeah, the funny thing was I worked over at the Cedar Bookstore for a while. That's how we met, actually, over at the bookstore. By the way, he was only 16 there, and like 16 years old at the time. It's just like, my goodness.
That's actually a very accurate description because my mentality and maturity was not 16. I was, yeah.
But it was great, though. It was great. In fact, I got to tell you, this young man introduced me to everything about that you would ever want to know and never thought to ask about Petra and a lot of other Christian bands at the time. So,
yeah, I was a little carried away.
Yeah, well, hey, that's all right. That's all right, because I learned a lot from you. So,
did you?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
I learned a lot from you as well.
So see, hey, you know what? This is a mutual thing.
Yeah,
so.
I actually just got to meet the Newsboys after you've been talking about meeting them for years and years and years.
Oh, wow. Really?
I got to meet them a year ago.
Wow.
They were doing a reunion tour of sorts. It was Phil, Joel, and Peter, what's his name? Furler.
Yes.
Otherwise known as Skinny Uncle Fester. And then the four guys that are Newsboys now, Michael Tate and all of them. And they did a reunion thing. But Mandisa, who is on my list of girls I'd love to go on a date with, I got to see her perform live.
Is she married?
I have no idea.
Well, you know what?
I'm not that stalker anymore.
Well, okay.
I research them enough to put them in, like I put her in the book. So I researched her enough to do that.
Okay.
But I don't.
Well, Mandisa,
know.
If you're out there, I tell you now, this man is a catch. So, tell you. So just remember that.
Let's work on a few things before we worry about the women. I got a few things I need to clean up before we start worrying about all that.
Don't listen.
I mean, you're the catch.
Well, yeah.
So you've got so we've covered 4 degrees.
Yeah.
So now you have and then you have all these other licensing, because this is not the LISW is not the first one you had. You've had others.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, the barber license actually came first.
Right.
Yeah. So, but then I went to school, actually went to school for, gosh, what was it? I know this is terrible. That's what 30 years will do to you. But Youth and Human Services. Yes, that was it. I actually didn't complete that degree. I was like 7 credits shy, actually, of completing that one. But then I took whatever credits I could take into the world of social work, and quite a few of them actually transferred, believe it or not. And then decided to go into social work. Had no idea what I wanted to do as a social worker. Just kind of felt led to go this way, and but somehow, therapy just felt like the right thing to do. And that, oddly enough, that's where a lot of my jobs ended up being. So, um, and so yeah, so it and that's kind of how we ended up here.
The thing that has always inspired me about you is there were a lot of roadblocks along your way. Go ahead, just give me a few of them, just so that we can put this in context. What were some of the roadblocks that were in your way? I mean, your mom died at a fairly young age.
Yeah, and that was one of the things when I was working on the first master's. I actually dropped out of school for a time to work on that. And so, to actually to grieve, for,
right.
And so that was one thing. And then once I, what another roadblock with that same degree was the fact that during that time of grieving, the person that was supposed to read my thesis, they left, went on to another job, whatever. And then another person came and worked with him for a while, and then he left. So then there was someone else that came in, and I said, well, you're going to have to redo all this. And so I decided, you know what? I'll just redo another major. And so that's what I did, because, if you don't complete the program within 7 years, then you have to start
all over again.
Which I thought, do I really want to do that? No, I don't think I'll do that.
And then and I'm not trying to bring up personal demons, but
no.
I know that we talked about, because I went through a span of drinking and having all kinds of problems. You struggled with the same thing.
Sure.
What was that like for you, and how did you overcome the alcohol addiction?
Well, I think that honestly, through a lot of prayer, having people to support you, that type of thing. So, you do a lot of crazy things during your college days.
Right.
It's just kind of like
even in seminary, people do things while in college.
This is true. Yeah. Not that I've ever been in seminary, but I've heard stories. So
from me.
Yeah. I've heard stories. So yeah.
Pastors' kids, boy, and they get on their own.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you think about it, that's only a natural reaction. I mean, you've been told how to repress everything your entire life, and then all of a sudden, no one's there to repress you, and
you go buck wild. Yeah.
Things just explode.
Yeah. But you know what? I guess I kind of look at it this way, that, you've heard the old adage, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And so the way I look at this, every you can either look at it as a roadblock or a stepping stone.
Right.
And so that's kind of the way I've tried to adjust my mentality, when looking at things, and so it's, and I think for the most part it's worked. In fact, I probably shouldn't bring this up just in case there's any haters out there.
It's all good.
But Michael Jordan was someone that always inspired me, because he came out of college with all this promise, and, they just won a national championship. And, it's just like, hey, I think people thought that, he was going to win an NBA championship first, or at least the second year out of college, and it was 7 years, and he stayed with the same team. That's unheard of today. People jump back and forth, to different teams all the time. But, the fact that he stayed there, same team, they built a nucleus around him, and, he got his first ring. 7 years later. I've known a lot of people that would have just given up. But I think that once he won, I think that, it's kind of like he kind of figured it out. You know what? I can do this.
Right.
I can do this. And I love his work ethic too. That aside from all his personal stuff and everything, a little gambling addiction or whatever, that type of thing. But the fact that Michael Jordan would practice before practice, he would go in and shoot 300 free throws every day, rain, shine, wouldn't matter how bad he was feeling, whatever. And, a lot of people talk about, well, he's got, the superior genetics and all this sort of thing. I say that he's got a superior work ethic.
It's funny that you bring that up because I've been, over the last 3 months, I have been really just devouring information.
Really?
And there are 7 themes that keep recurring in everyone that I've listened to, everyone I've heard about. And the first is willpower.
Okay.
You have to have the will to do what you want. Perseverance is another one. Yeah. If you get knocked down and you just roll over and die, you just gave up. And one of my ex-girlfriends used to tell me that she said that you haven't failed until you quit. And I was like, that has resonated with me for as long as, and it will resonate with me for as long as I'm alive. you haven't failed until you quit. And so perseverance is something. But then there's also the mental aspect of rehearsing everything over and over and over again in your head. Michael Jordan was an expert at that.
Oh, yes.
He would talk about that. Like he'd lay down at night playing basketball in his head, fall asleep playing basketball, wake up playing basketball in his head before he even left his house. And like, that's such a huge, huge proponent of success, is that you have to be able to signify what you want and then not let that go.
That's right. In fact, one thing that's interesting to me too is that even after basketball, Michael Jordan is still a success. In fact, the fact that he makes more money now than he did when he was playing, that's a testimony to his work ethic.
He owns a team.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many players have gone back to, there's only one other player I can think of who went back and owned a team.
Yeah.
And that's Gretzky, when he bought the expansion for the the Phoenix Coyotes.
Well, he's another one. Great, incredible work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just something to be said for, in fact, one of the reasons why so many foreigners love coming to America, you can make it in America.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like, people come from, Bosnia or from China or from India or, or wherever, and, didn't have anything when they came here, clothes on their back, and that type of thing. And they come here and they become millionaires in many cases. In fact, I think this is like 20 years ago here in this town in Waterloo, the second biggest realtor at that time was Bosnian, and I think he had only been here. I think he hadn't even been here 10 years. And I mean, he rose to the ranks really quickly.
Yeah.
And so there's just something to be said for that. And so, I guess just my takeaway from all of that, I agree with everything you said. Just in terms of the determination, not taking a roadblock as we're going to lay down, we're going to quit.
You got to change your perspective on it.
Yeah. And I think there's just something to be said for that determination. So
you can either look at it as a mountain, as something that's impossible, or you can figure out how to climb it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess that's, I've always admired people like that, and so I guess I'm trying to adapt my mindset to that, and you are too, brother. So
I mean, the thing that I don't know how to say this. I've always struggled with being viewed as a loser by every accountable word. To this day, people could still look at me as a loser. But Earl Nightingale said something to me that, not to me, but in a recording years and years ago that I found, that has resonated with me, and it's changed the way I see things. And he said that success is the continuous pursuit of a worthwhile ideal. So if you have figured out what it is that you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to do, or what you're trying to overcome, and you are continuously moving towards that, as long as it's worthwhile, you're a success.
That's right.
And it's just like, stop comparing yourself to everyone else. The only person you can compare yourself to and feel good about is yourself. Where am I at today as opposed to where am I at yesterday?
Exactly.
Have I made better choices? Did I make strides? Did I do things differently to make things better?
Exactly. You know, and another thing too that just reminded me of that, you know, there have been a lot of, you know, I'm just thinking of sports, because I think sports is probably one of the best analogies. There have been a lot of folks that, you know, never won championships or this, that, or whatever, but their success inspired others. And one fact, Hayden Fry is a good example. You know,
Dan Marino, never won a championship, but the case could be made he's the greatest quarterback to ever play the game.
Yeah.
Now I know that the Brady fans out there would be like, well, he's won 7, but championships are won by the team, not by the individual.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to have a team, you have to have a coach, you have to have the front office. There's a lot that goes into winning a championship, and that's what drives me nuts when people are like, well, this person doesn't have any rings or doesn't have as many rings. He didn't do it. Like, but that doesn't mean his impact in the game was any different.
Oh, totally.
David Robinson changed the way the center position was played.
Yeah.
People forget that, you know, he gets drafted. He has to sit 2 years out to fulfill his naval obligation, which, by the way, extremely commendable to a kid that's like, well, I could have neglected that obligation, but no, he went through and he did it.
Yeah.
Accomplished what he said he was going to accomplish. The Navy then worked with him, gave him his NBA career, and he changed the way the center position was played, because teams were looking, going, all right, in 2 years, this kid's going to be in the league. We got to figure out how to compete.
Yeah.
And he was really one of the first ones that could do be a center and shoot the 3-point shot, or be the 17-footer, or drive into the middle. You know, like, he could do everything. He was a great defender. He was athletic, and he does not get the recognition he deserves.
Totally. But, you know, another thing too that I think, in regards to David, you know, he didn't have all the hype, I guess, you know, but my thinking is, hype is one thing, but I look at his impact. To me, impact is better. Impact is more important than hype.
Yo, 100%.
Yeah. You know.
Well, and but you think about, he was coming from the Naval Academy. He didn't care about self. He cared about team.
Exactly.
And one of the great, and if you think about his impact, we want to talk about impact. Not only did he have a great playing career, but when they drafted Tim Duncan, the first thing he did was called Tim Duncan and said, you're moving in with me. And then he cultivated Tim Duncan into, this is how we do things. This is how it should be done. And mentored him, right? Mentorship's huge. It's a huge part of everything. And then because he did that with Tim Duncan, what happened? Tim Duncan's mindset changes, which then carried on for 5 championships, one together, and then 4 more for Tim Duncan.
Oh yeah.
That's impact.
That is huge impact. You know, and I think that those are the things that we don't think about, honestly, but you know, and in fact, I feel like impact is kind of one of those things that you know, we look at the hype, right? Mm-hmm. But with, you know, the impact that, you know, a person's life, you know, a lot of times we don't really realize it until after they're, you know, out of the league or their career's over or this or that. And it's like, oh yeah, okay. But yet, you know, it's undeniable.
I mean, look what Tiger Woods did for golf.
Yeah.
I mean, not only did he, became the most prevalent black golfer ever. He changed the way the golf is being viewed now. It went from guys who look like me playing golf to guys who are now going to the gym and getting jacked. Oh. Like, some of these guys are golfers now look like they should be playing linebacker. Like, they're these well athletic machines now.
They're beasts.
All because of Tiger.
Yeah.
Because that's what Tiger did. And he was out driving people. He was, you know, everything that he was doing. Now, some of that gets to your head and you have some mistakes. He's not perfect. No one is.
No.
But his impact on the game cannot be denied.
Exactly. So, and I think that's, I like what you said about mentorship, because honestly, I feel that's something we used to teach, decades ago.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, we kind of got out of that. And I think that honestly, we need to bring more of that back into our society, because I think that if we had more mentors, uh, and I'm not just talking about people that teach, but I'm thinking of, like David Robson. Yeah, come on and live with me for a while, and let's really show you how it's done, and just kind of, because I'm a big believer that, you learn more you learn by what a person says, but also by what they do.
Right.
And then, but one of the best ways to learn is by being around that person.
You are who you surround yourself with.
Exactly.
Your environment. Who are some of the people that, obviously your dad?
Yeah.
Who are some of the other people who had an impact on you?
The school counselor.
Okay.
I remember when she passed away. It was one of those things. I remember I kind of just kind of gave one of my tributes. Just tell. In fact, the school, they have this. They have this magazine they put out 4 times a year, and they were just kind of questioning, or just interviewing various alumni.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, what are your thoughts about, what were your influences, blah blah blah. And one of the things I mentioned was that Pat Flanders was probably the biggest influence of mine, just simply because of, and I don't even think she knew it at the time. I didn't know it at the time, really. But, again, you talk about impact. That's like she had an incredible impact on my life because I saw the way she touched so many people in the school.
Right.
I think that if it hadn't been for her, I think there would have been a lot more um, chaos, confusion, drug addiction, this, that, or whatever. And I just think that, just having somebody just talk to process about
Right.
things, and someone that's willing to, be there to give you good advice. And that's what she was.
Awesome.
And so she was definitely one of them. There was another social worker, interestingly enough. His name was Mr. Amundsen. My dad actually introduced me to him, and he was the one that actually gave my dad the idea to send me to Shattuck.
Nice.
And so I met with
Mr. Mutual, a third party benefit there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
I'm not here.
I should have had that turned off. I apologize.
Oh, no worries. But so yeah, he was definitely, he was one. And and I think of some other peers. There was a guy by the name of Arnold Reed. He was the one thing that I loved about Arnold. Arnold was a how can I describe this? Just came from his dad. Very humble beginnings. His dad was a barber. Didn't have a whole lot, but now he's a big time lawyer in Detroit. His son is now a big time lawyer in California, and now his daughter. I just heard that she just took like whatever test passed the bar or whatever, and so she's going to be a lawyer. So it's kind of like you talk about the power of legacy, and he was also a great impact in my life.
Legacy is a weird thing though, because sometimes, like, you look at some of the great success stories and their kids don't turn out the same way.
True.
Because you're so busy chasing whatever it is that you're chasing that you forget to pass on. Or what happens is that you have accomplished something and you're grateful because you remember that experience and you remember what happened, where the kid doesn't have that experience and they're just, how do you handle enormous wealth at the age of 6?
True.
You know what I mean?
Do you remember the movie that we saw back in 2005? I think it was actually just titled Rocky.
Yes.
There was a scene in that movie where Rocky's son was working for some Fortune 500 company, and everybody of course, knew Rocky. Rock, yeah, come on over, and the son was kind of just feeling like, oh gosh, I can't live up to your image. You cast this big shadow. And, one of the things that Rocky said to him, it's like, and I'm not saying it exactly the way that he
Right.
said it, but the idea
for legal reasons.
Yeah, well, exactly.
We don't want to get sued for trademarks.
No. But it was just the idea that, you know what, I just want you to be happy. I just want you to, do your thing. Whatever your thing is. You don't have to go out and be a boxer like me, but whatever your thing is, you're make something like in that.
And now I need you to say that like Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah,
Hey, yo, I was just thinking, maybe me and Adrian could go hang out or something,
That's good. That's good.
I have a little help doing impressions, though.
Hey, that's all right. That's all right.
So you overcame a lot to get to where you are.
I'd like to think so.
What do you think is the key to obviously changing your mindset, but what else helped you get to where you are? Like, obviously you have perseverance because you keep going at it. You knew what you wanted. How important was that to you?
I think that, I think it meant a lot, honestly. It's just, the best analogy I can give you is, just say that we had a bullseye on the wall behind us.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you know what you're shooting at, you'll have a better idea of where to aim, and you will have better success in eventually hitting what it is that you're aiming for. But if you don't know what to shoot for,
Maria Thayer, I'm asking you on a date. She doesn't even know I'm alive. Actually, that's not true. She did like one of my tweets.
Oh, really?
Well, I named a drink after her, the Spicy Maria Thayer.
There you go.
It is the female version of the Bloody Mary. So a Bloody Mary is vodka.
Okay.
And a Bloody Maria is made with tequila.
Okay.
And I made a Bloody Maria when I was working at the Mexican restaurant. Yes, I made one for her.
I see.
A special blend of spices and all kinds of stuff. I don't know why I'm speaking this accent.
Yeah,
it's not even Spanish. It's like Italiano or something. I am trying to woo her with my Italian accent.
You know what? Hey, you know what? This is your show. You can talk.
No, this is your show. I'm just here to facilitate it. Sometimes I get carried away. I am very egocentric. I've been working on it.
Yeah, you know what? You are absolutely fine, brother.
Well, thank you. It's been a long time since someone's called me fine. All right, so we get to the point that you graduate college with your dad.
Yes.
I don't know what else, where I really want to go with it. Did you ever feel, let me ask you this, because we don't ever have uncomfortable conversations in America. Me and you have had uncomfortable conversations outside of here.
Sure.
Did you ever feel like you were being held back because of your race? Was it ever a black thing? Did you ever feel like that, or?
Yeah, at times.
All right, let's walk through that, because I don't have that experience.
Sure.
I don't know what that's like.
Yeah, there are times, especially, it's interesting because, I find that, in fact, just to give you an example, I remember, and this wasn't so much career-wise or whatever, but I remember my dad and we went to a store.
Mm-hmm.
Where he picked me up from the airport in the Twin Cities, and we stopped at this little store in an unnamed town, which I would not mention, but we stopped in this little store, figured we'd get some chips, and some soda and stuff like that. And it's funny. I mean, I felt like I was on the set of an E.F. Hutton commercial, because it's like all of a sudden everybody's looking, and it's just like the whole store got quiet. And it was just so weird, the tension was so thick. I mean, you could literally cut it with a buzzsaw, It was just nuts. And the guy behind the counter, he's looking at me, and it's just, and so I just stared back at him, just looked back at him, just like, didn't take my eyes off, didn't blink or anything like that, just.
How old were you?
Oh, this was probably, it's probably like 30. So yeah.
Okay, so you were a full grown adult doing this.
Oh,
that makes it even better.
Oh yeah, and just very matter of fact, just I'll take these, thank you, and that sort of thing. And so I stepped outside, and then my dad stepped outside, like a few seconds afterwards, and he just makes this very dry comment to me. I don't think they get too many darkies in this neck of the woods. So
that is so your dad.
Oh goodness.
Oh my gosh, that's great. I had the experience of living in Austin, Texas, and going to a school that was a little rough around the edges, as it was put. Not as bad as one of the other ones, but we were on a college campus. That was our high school. And there was 5,200 enrolled, and white people made up 4% of that. So there were times that I was walking into class as being the only white person in the class. And when people are like, well, you don't know what it's like, I'm like, I kind of get the gist of it. I don't know your side. I don't know, but I know that feeling.
Yeah.
I've been there to a point.
Yeah, I think that's a good representation. In fact, now that you mention that, I was thinking when I was at Shattuck, now mind you, I loved my Shattuck experience.
Right.
But, at the time, now, it's a lot more diverse now, but at the time there were probably 8 to 10 black kids.
Out of how many?
Out of, probably 250, 260
okay.
kids. So, yeah, we stood out.
Right.
We really stood out. I remember when my dad came to visit, it was so funny. It's like, hi, Mr. Bumpers. Hello, Mr. Bumpers. And my dad's like, do I have a name tag on or something? It's just like, but, everybody knew who he was.
But you guys you're the spitting image of him.
Well, true.
The pictures, I wish we had a couple of those pictures to make the comparison because it's.
That's true. Yeah. So in that respect, but it was so interesting because there were, being on campus wasn't so much of an issue, but being, sports teams and going to small towns to compete in sports. Mm-hmm. Now that's when you really noticed it.
What sports were you in?
I was in football. I was a great football player.
Were you?
I was.
Okay. What position did you play?
Bench.
Yeah. That's the best one.
Oh yeah. I was good on the bench, I tell you.
Okay. But when you practice, what position did you practice?
Yeah, I was, oddly enough, I was, I was like on the defensive line, like left tackle or whatever,
Okay.
And I remember playing against one guy who ended up becoming like all Big Ten, all American Joe Schuster. Look him up on Wikipedia.
Joe Schuster.
Yeah, Joe Schuster ended up playing for the Philadelphia Eagles and all this sort of thing.
He is an Eggle.
Yeah, he was a beast, is what he was. Like, oh gosh, oh man. Yeah, I probably still have bruises from those practices. Oh man.
That reminds me of listening because Bucky Brooks. I don't know if you know who he was. I think it was Barrett Brooks. It was Barrett Brooks.
Okay.
He used to play for the Eagles, and he was talking on his radio show about. They asked him because the other two guys are just these small white guys. What was it like being on the field? Like, was there someone you were ever worried about? And he goes, Derek Thomas. Because every time I had to line up against Derek Thomas, I was not afraid to go to the back and say, I need help. You're going to have to help me. Because that guy ran like a gazelle.
Oh, yeah. Joe Schuster was like that. Oh, my goodness.
I'll have to look him up. Joe Schuster.
Yeah, that guy was a beast. Yeah, in fact, there were some times, I just like, just go right on in.
I don't want to take the butt whooping.
Yeah, no.
Go ahead and hit the quarterback. I don't even care.
Hey, I'm not going to stand in your way. No, we're good.
No wonder you're on the bench. I played bench catcher in college. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, I was the bullpen catcher.
Awesome.
I did get 4 at bats. I hit 500 for my career. A single, a strikeout, and 2 walks. I have a good eye. Good eye.
Well, your baseball career was a lot more successful in my football career.
Only because it was at seminary and they just needed bodies. They didn't care how good you were. I mean, I set 4 California state records in golf that will never be broken.
Awesome.
No, they're the dubious kind.
Oh.
Worst round ever recorded, highest over par, shortest drive, negative 69-yard drive.
Oh. Okay, let's edit this out. Yeah, that's just like
most shots on a hole, 27 on a par 5.
Oh. Well, you were just having a bad day. That's all.
I mean, I had a whole season of bad days. I completed 1 round of golf using the same golf ball, and Teresa got that when we got divorced.
Oh, funny. I love it. She wanted a memento. Huh?
Yes. That's true.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Well, brother, yeah, I tell you, how much more time do we have? Just
how much time do you have?
Maybe like 5 more minutes.
All right, we got 5 more minutes then.
So
I'll tear it down. So what else would you like to talk about in your last 5 minutes?
Well, you know what? I guess one of the things you'd asked, it's just like what are one of the things that helped you, and honestly, is the power of friendships.
Okay.
Because I find that, you've heard people say, well, I got this way on my own, pulled myself up by my own bootstraps, and that sort of thing. And regardless of what people say, if you accomplished anything worth anything in life, there was somebody there to help you in some way, shape, or form. Now, maybe you might not want to acknowledge it.
Right.
You might not, whatever, but, there was someone there that helped you get to where you're at.
Right.
And, and so honestly, I could think of a ton of people that helped me on the way. So
these are the best things you could ever buy.
Oh, yeah.
Because people who've been dead for hundreds of years. In fact, I just bought one from Andrew Carnegie because, my goal is to become a billionaire.
Yeah.
He was the first one to do it. So maybe he has some information that I should be reading about how to accomplish said goal.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I just think, again, like it's like what the quote that you said earlier, you are the people you surround yourself with, or I think that's what you said, it's, or the ideas that you surround yourself with. I think that, when you set your mind, when you get around people that have their sights set higher, it encourages you to set your sights higher.
Right.
And so,
you'll get success by osmosis.
Well, you know what? I honestly think a lot of times that works because, in fact, an interesting story, and I'll close on this one. I remember a pastor that I was sitting under, Francis Frangipan. You'll have to look him up on YouTube. Great guy, by the way. But he, sorry, that was a selfless plug. But
we appreciate those on the show.
That's all right. But he was telling this story about how his one of his daughters, she was kind of like the wild child of the family, and he was like, this big, world, renowned author and speaker and, that type of thing. And, his daughter was, just kind of going by the wayside. And so, like any good daughter or like any good father, rather he decided to send her to New Zealand, get her away from the influence that he saw that she was getting involved in. And he said, what, if I could have, I would have sent her to a school on Mars, to get her away from, the people she was around. And so he sent her to this Christian school out in New Zealand. And the funny thing is once they found out that she was the daughter of Francis Frangipan, they put her on leadership positions and all this sort of thing. They trained her. And the thing that's so neat about this story is that she actually stepped up to the plate.
Nice.
She's like, oh, you mean tell me you believe that I can do this?
Right.
And so she, it's like, okay, well, I'll give it my best. And she did great.
Which is also a reflection of sometimes we need someone outside of us to tell us where we're at. Like a lot of times I think a lot of people struggle with self-worth and they don't understand that all that comes from within.
Yeah.
But sometimes that recognition of a stop sign of I believe in you can kickstart that and get that going. Like, because if someone says I believe in you and you start to believe in yourself, everything comes from within. That's like in a lot of the prayers and things that if you go back and you read the Bible and you read a bunch of philosophy, it all says the same thing. Everything you need is from within. Yeah. You just have to discover that. All right. So we do one quick thing. We always do our time for gratitudes.
Okay.
What are you grateful for? Who are you grateful for? What would you like to be grateful for today?
Well, I want to mention two people. I'm grateful for my dad.
Okay.
Because my dad, I think, he kind of laid the foundation, if you will, and obviously family, and including this brother right here. And I'm serious when I say that because, I think, and again, there's just something to be said for longevity. The fact that, we have been friends for, heck, I remember when all your kids were born, and it's just like, and now I've seen almost all of your kids grow up. My goodness, it's like they're old, man, and it's just like, you're not any older, but they're old, and just seeing all these things, and there's something to be said for that. And so, I'm very eternally grateful for you, brother.
Well, I am eternally grateful for you as well. There have been many times like you had. There are very few people in my life who've had the courage to say things to me that you've said to me.
Okay.
I will never forget that conversation. By the way, my Agape loved him. One of my first cats. He does not like cats, and this cat loved him. Loved him. But I will never forget that conversation where
silly Elgato.
She jumped up on you and you put her off the side, and you looked at me and you said, "I want to have a conversation with you." And I said, "Okay." And you said to me, "I can tell that porn has a hold of you and alcohol has a hold of you, and those two things combined are going to get you into a lot of trouble. Please stop doing it."
Wow.
I remember that conversation. I remember it vividly. And I remember also thinking at that time that even though I loved you and even though I knew that you were trying to say what you wanted, these things are what I felt I needed to help me for whatever I was missing in life, this was giving me. And it wasn't. It was total addiction. But no one else has ever had that kind of courage to come to me and say, "You're screwing your life up. You need to figure it out." But you did it in a way that it wasn't mean. It was loving and caring. And I don't know. I'm just so grateful that you've been in my life. I'm grateful that you decided to do this.
Oh, this is fun.
I'm trying to. There's a guy. If you want to help the show out, I need you to pray for Darwin because Darwin, his story, wow. He moved to Vinton and changed the entire town.
Wow.
He's a black fellow who moved to Vinton and changed the entire town. And it is his story. He is number 2 on my list of people I want to talk to. Wes Studi is number 1.
Well, you know what?
I know people know who he is. Well, they do, but they don't.
Well, Darwin, we're praying for you.
It's going to happen. Darwin, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. Because I've known Darwin since early 2000s.
So it's been a while.
It has been a while. And Darwin's he is the nicest person you will ever meet, except for you. Your niceness is exceeding, but
well, thank you.
He is such a great dude. But without you, my life would be a complete disaster. And it has been a disaster points in time, but you've always stood beside me with love and kindness, even when you knew that I was screwing up. And even when my life was upside down, you were always there. So, you came and helped me bury Miami that night.
I remember that.
That was a rough one. My dog got ran over by a car.
Yeah.
I loved her so much. When Matt got taken away, you were there. Yep. When I was self-destructing, you were there. You never judged me. When I confessed to the cutting and all the other things, you never judged me. You were always just there in love. And that really goes a long ways, and I really do appreciate you.
And
our 30 years of brotherhood. So there you go.
There you go.
All right, guys. Until we find someone else to talk to, this has been A Mile in Your Shoes with my brother Floyd. Hope you guys have a great one. And we're done.
I think that went well.